The rain hammered against our kitchen window at 1 in the morning while I crouched under the sink, wrestling with a stubborn pipe joint. Water had been dripping for 3 days, and Genevieve kept reminding me about it every time she walked past. The irony wasn't lost on me, fixing leaks while my marriage was apparently springing them faster than I could patch. "Just tell him you're going to visit Mom," I heard Genevieve whisper in the hallway. "I'll say I'm at study group. He's too busy with his little projects to notice anyway." My stepdaughter Megan's voice carried that entitled tone I'd grown to despise over the past 2 years. "Are you sure Bradley won't mind us staying the whole weekend? I mean, it's his boat." "Trust me, honey. Your father loves having us around. Besides, Richard will never know." I froze, wrench halfway through a turn. "Your father, not your stepfather. Your father." Bradley Holt, Genevieve's ex-husband, the man she'd supposedly left because he was emotionally unavailable and only cared about his business. The same Bradley who owned 3 luxury car dealerships and a yacht that cost more than most people's houses. "My name is Richard Farrow, and I work in logistics coordination for a mid-sized shipping company. I make decent money, enough to pay Megan's college tuition at Portland State, enough to maintain our house in the suburbs, enough to keep Genevieve in the lifestyle she'd grown accustomed to during her first marriage. But I'm not yacht money. I'm not, let's spend the weekend on the water money." I stayed under that sink for another 20 minutes, listening to them plan their deception. Genevieve would tell me her mother was having another episode with her heart condition. Megan would claim she had a study group for her advanced marketing class. They'd leave Friday morning and return Sunday night, full of stories about hospital visits and academic dedication. The pipe finally cooperated, and I crawled out from under the sink. My knees cracked as I stood, 43 years old and already feeling every one of them. Genevieve appeared in the doorway, her blonde hair perfect despite the late hour. "Oh, good. You fixed it," she said, not looking at me. I was starting to think we'd need to call a plumber. "Just needed the right touch," I said, wiping my hands on a dish towel. "Speaking of which, how's your mother doing?" Genevieve's pause lasted exactly 1 second too long. "About the same. You know how it is with her condition." "Right. Her condition." I nodded slowly. "The one that flares up so unpredictably." "Exactly." She moved closer, and for a moment, I thought she might actually feel guilty about lying to my face. "I might need to visit her this weekend. Megan said she'd drive me up." "That's thoughtful of Megan, missing classes to help family." "She doesn't have any important classes on Friday, just study groups." The lies rolled off her tongue so smoothly. 20 years of marriage, and I was watching my wife perfect the art of deception in real time. Part of me wanted to call her out right then, to demand the truth and have the fight that had been building for months. But something held me back, maybe curiosity, maybe self-preservation. "Well, you should definitely go," I said. "Family comes first." Relief flooded her features. "You're so understanding, Richard. I don't know what I'd do without you." She kissed my cheek and disappeared upstairs. I stood in the kitchen, listening to the rain and thinking about understanding. Understanding that my wife was planning to spend the weekend with her ex-husband. Understanding that my stepdaughter was helping her lie to me. Understanding that I was apparently the only one in this house who didn't know the game had changed. Friday morning arrived with the kind of gray drizzle that makes Portland famous. I made coffee and watched Genevieve pack her overnight bag with more care than any hospital visit required. Designer clothes, expensive perfume, the jewelry I'd bought her for our anniversary last year. "Mom's really looking forward to seeing you," I said, handing her a travel mug. "She always asks about you," Genevieve replied without missing a beat. "Says you're too good for me." "Smart woman, your mother." Megan bounded down the stairs with her own overnight bag, already dressed like she was heading to a yacht club rather than a study session. White pants, navy blazer, boat shoes that cost more than my work boots. "Intensive study weekend?" I asked. "Professor Martinez is really pushing us hard," she said, but it'll be worth it for the final grade. Professor Martinez, marketing, right? Advanced consumer psychology. The lie came so easily I almost believed it myself. I walked them to Genevieve's BMW and helped load their bags. 2 women I'd been supporting, protecting, and caring for, and they were treating me like a convenient fool. Drive safe, I said, kissing Genevieve goodbye. Give my best to your mother. I will. We'll be back Sunday evening. I watched them drive away, then pulled out my phone and opened Facebook. Social media, the great destroyer of alibis and the graveyard of marriage lies. Genevieve kept her privacy settings tight, but Megan was 20 years old and apparently believed the internet was her personal diary. By Saturday afternoon, I had all the evidence I needed. Megan's Instagram story showed champagne glasses against a backdrop of blue water. Her Snapchat featured a selfie with Genevieve, both of them laughing on what was clearly the deck of a boat. But the real prize was the Facebook check-in. Weekend getaway on the Columbia River with my favorite people. Tagged location. Bradley's yacht. The second chance. I screenshot everything. The champagne, the boat deck, the check-in, the timestamp that proved they'd been planning this deception for days. My wife and stepdaughter, living their best life on her ex-husband's yacht while I sat at home like a chump. But here's the thing about being treated like a fool. Eventually, you get to choose whether you keep playing the part. I opened my laptop and logged into the Portland State Student Portal. Megan's tuition for the spring semester was due in 2 weeks. $15,000 for her advanced marketing classes and consumer psychology seminars. $15,000 so she could learn better ways to manipulate people like me. The payment cancellation button seemed almost too easy to click. Rich boyfriends come with perks, I said to my empty house. Time for Bradley to start earning his keep. My phone buzzed with a text from Genevieve. Mom's doing better. Might stay an extra day to make sure she's stable. I stared at the message for a long moment, then typed back. Take all the time you need. Family is everything. She sent back a heart emoji. A heart emoji while she was drinking champagne on another man's yacht. I spent the rest of Saturday cleaning the house and thinking about 20 years of marriage. 20 years of working overtime to pay for Megan's private school, her car, her college expenses. 20 years of listening to Genevieve complain about money while she spent it faster than I could make it. 20 years of being the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who fixed the leaks and paid the bills and never asked for anything in return except basic honesty. Apparently, that was too much to ask. Sunday evening, they returned with perfect stories. Genevieve's mother was stable but needed more rest. Megan's study group had been incredibly productive. They both looked relaxed and happy, the way people look after a weekend of luxury and lies. How was your weekend? Genevieve asked, unpacking clothes that smelled like expensive boat soap. Quiet. Fixed the leak, caught up on some reading. You know me. Simple pleasures. That's what I love about you, she said, and I wondered if she even heard herself anymore. You're so content with the little things. Little things. Like honesty. Like respect. Like not being played for a fool by the people I'd spent 2 decades supporting. My phone rang Tuesday morning while I was at work. Unknown number, but I recognized the voice immediately. Portland State's bursar office. Mr. Farrow, this is Janet from Student Financial Services. We need to discuss Megan Holt's account. What about it? Well, her spring tuition payment was canceled, and we haven't received any communication about alternative arrangements. Registration holds will be placed on her account if we don't receive payment by Friday. I see. Have you tried contacting Megan directly? We've left several messages. She hasn't returned our calls. I'm sure she'll figure something out, I said. She's very resourceful. But sir, you're listed as the primary financial contact. Not anymore, I interrupted. Megan's family situation has changed. You'll need to work with her directly going forward. I hung up and deleted the voicemail notification that had been blinking on my phone for 3 days. Megan had been calling, but I wasn't ready to have that conversation yet. Let her panic a little. Let her wonder why her free ride had suddenly developed complications. Wednesday brought more calls. Megan left increasingly frantic voicemails. "Richard, what's going on? The school says my tuition payment was canceled. This has to be some kind of mistake. Richard, seriously, I need you to call me back. I can't register for classes, and they're threatening to drop me from the housing wait list. Richard, Mom tried calling you too. Why aren't you answering? This isn't funny anymore." Thursday's voicemail had a different tone. "Look, I don't know what your problem is, but you're messing with my education. Mom says you're probably just busy at work, but this is important. Call me back." Friday afternoon, Genevieve cornered me the moment I walked through the front door. "Richard, we need to talk. Megan's having problems with her tuition and she can't reach you." "Really? What kind of problems?" "The payment didn't go through or something. She's freaking out because they might drop her from her classes." I set down my briefcase and looked at my wife. Really looked at her. Still beautiful at 38, still carrying herself like the world owed her something special, still lying to me with the same face she'd used to say she loved me. "That's strange," I said. "Payment systems are usually pretty reliable. Can you just call the school and fix it? You know how these computer systems can be. I'm sure Megan can handle it. She's an adult after all. Very independent." Genevieve's expression shifted slightly. "Richard, what's going on? You're acting weird." "Weird how?" "I don't know. Distant. Like you're angry about something." I almost laughed. Angry about something. As if my anger was some mysterious force rather than a completely rational response to being lied to and manipulated. "I'm not angry," I said. "I'm just thinking that maybe it's time for Megan to take more responsibility for her own life. She's 20 years old. Most kids her age are working their way through school. But we've always paid her tuition. It's what families do." "Right. Families." I pulled out my phone and opened the photo gallery. "Speaking of families, how's your mother doing?" "She's better. Much better, actually." "Good to hear. I was worried when you had to extend your visit last weekend." I scrolled through the screenshots I'd saved. Must have been a real emergency. Genevieve's face went pale as I turned the phone toward her. The photos were undeniable. Her and Megan on Bradley's yacht, champagne in hand, not a care in the world. "Richard, I can explain." "Can you? Because I'm really curious how visiting your sick mother turned into a yacht party with your ex-husband." The silence stretched between us like a chasm. 20 years of marriage, and this was the moment when the pretense finally cracked. "It wasn't what it looked like," she said finally. "Really?" "Because it looked like my wife and stepdaughter lying to me so they could spend the weekend living it up with another man. But please, enlighten me about what it actually was." Genevieve sat down heavily on the couch. "Bradley invited us. It was just a friendly thing. Old friends catching up." "Old friends? Is that what we're calling it?" "Nothing happened, Richard. We needed some time away. Some fun. You're always so serious, so focused on work and responsibilities. Sometimes a person needs to feel alive. And you couldn't feel alive with me." "That's not what I meant." But it was exactly what she meant. I could see it in her eyes, hear it in her voice. I was the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who paid the bills and fixed the leaks and made sure everyone else could feel alive. "So where does that leave us?" I asked. "I don't know, I need some time to think." "Take all the time you need," I said. "But while you're thinking, maybe consider this. Actions have consequences. You want to play happy family with Bradley? Fine, but don't expect me to keep funding the performance." I walked upstairs, leaving her sitting on the couch with her phone full of evidence and her conscience full of guilt. My phone was buzzing with text messages, Megan demanding answers about her tuition. I turned it off and went to bed. The real game was just beginning. The next morning, I woke up to find Genevieve already gone. Her note on the kitchen counter was brief. Staying at Megan's apartment for a few days. Need space to think. Will call you. Space to think. 20 years of marriage, and she needed space to think about whether lying to me was wrong. I crumpled the note and threw it in the trash, then made coffee and tried to figure out what came next. My phone had 17 missed calls and 12 voicemails. Megan had clearly escalated from confused to panicked to furious. The last voicemail, left at 2 a.m, was particularly enlightening. You know what, Richard? I talked to Mom, and she told me what you said. This is about the yacht thing, isn't it? You're punishing me because Mom wanted to have some fun for once in her life. That's so petty and pathetic. My real father would never do something like this to me. My real father. There it was, the truth that had been lurking under the surface for 2 years. I wasn't Megan's father, real or otherwise. I was just the man who'd been paying her bills while she waited for someone better to come along. I saved the voicemail and went to work. My job at Pacific Logistics isn't glamorous, but it's steady and it pays well. I coordinate shipping schedules and manage client relationships. Basically, I solve problems that other people create. The irony of spending my days fixing other people's messes while my own life fell apart wasn't lost on me. You look terrible, said my colleague Janet when I walked into the office. Everything okay at home? Just some family drama, nothing I can't handle. Wife troubles? Something like that. Janet had been divorced twice and had the battle scars to prove it. Want some advice? Document everything. Whatever's going on, make sure you have records. Trust me on this one. I spent my lunch break doing exactly that. Screenshots of the yacht photos, saved voicemails, bank records showing tuition payments, even the receipt for Megan's boat shoes. 20 years of being the responsible one had taught me to keep good records. The afternoon brought a call from Genevieve. Her voice was strained, like she'd been crying. Richard, we need to talk about Megan's tuition. She's really upset. I imagine she is. This isn't fair to her. Whatever problems you and I are having, she shouldn't suffer for them. You're absolutely right, I said. She shouldn't suffer because her mother lied to her stepfather, but here we are. Don't be cruel. Cruel? I worked overtime for 2 years to pay for her education while she treated me like an inconvenience. I covered her car insurance, her phone bill, her credit card payments, and the whole time she was calling Bradley her real father and treating me like hired help. Silence on the other end of the line. She didn't mean it that way, Genevieve said finally. Didn't she? Because her voicemail was pretty clear about how she really feels. She was upset. People say things when they're upset. Yes, they do. They say what they really think. Another long pause. So what do you want, Richard? What's it going to take to fix this? I want honesty. I want respect. I want to stop being treated like a fool by the people I've spent 20 years supporting. And if I give you that, if we work things out, will you pay Megan's tuition? The question hung in the air like smoke. She was negotiating, trying to find the price of my dignity. We'll see, I said, and hung up. That evening, I drove to Bradley's car dealership. Holt Luxury Motors sat on the waterfront like a glass and chrome monument to excess. BMWs, Mercedes, Jaguars, all the toys that successful men bought to prove their worth. I wasn't planning anything dramatic. I just wanted to see the man who'd been entertaining my wife and stepdaughter while I sat at home like a chump. Know your enemy, as they say. Bradley was easy to spot. Tall, silver-haired, wearing a suit that cost more than my monthly salary. He was showing a red Jaguar to a young couple, his voice carrying that practiced charm that successful salesmen perfect over years of separating people from their money. The F-type is really in a class by itself, he was saying. Power, elegance, and reliability. Everything you want in a luxury vehicle. Reliability. The irony was perfect. I waited until the couple left, then approached the showroom floor. Beautiful cars, I said. running my hand along the Jaguar's hood. I'm in the market for something special. Bradley's salesman's smile activated immediately. Excellent choice. The F-Type is one of our most popular models. Are you looking for performance or luxury? Both. Life's too short to compromise, don't you think? Absolutely. I'm Bradley Holt, by the way. Owner and general manager. Richard Farrow. I watched his face carefully, but there was no recognition. Either he was a better actor than I'd given him credit for, or Genevieve had never bothered to mention my name during their yacht weekend. Well, Richard, let me show you what this beauty can do. For the next 20 minutes, Bradley gave me the full sales presentation. The Jaguar's performance specs, its luxury features, its investment potential. He was good at his job, confident, knowledgeable, persuasive. I could see why Genevieve was attracted to him. What do you do for work, Richard? He asked as we concluded the test drive. Logistics coordination. Nothing as exciting as luxury cars, but it pays the bills. Hey, steady work is nothing to apologize for. I respect a man who takes care of his responsibilities. Takes care of his responsibilities, like paying another man's daughter's college tuition while that man entertained his wife on a yacht. Speaking of responsibilities, I said, I should probably run this by my wife before making any decisions. You know how it is. Happy wife, happy life. Smart man. What's your wife's name? Maybe she'd like to come in and see the car herself. Genevieve Farrow. This time, there was definitely a flicker of recognition in his eyes, just for a second, but enough to confirm what I already knew. Genevieve, he repeated slowly. That's a beautiful name. She's a beautiful woman, works in public relations downtown, very social, lots of friends, always going to charity events and fundraisers. Sounds like a wonderful lady. Oh, she is. Very close to her family, too, especially her daughter from her first marriage. They do everything together, shopping, spa days, weekend trips, real mother-daughter bonding time. Bradley's smile was starting to look strained. That's great. Family is important. Couldn't agree more. In fact, they just got back from a weekend trip. Something about visiting Genevieve's mother, but you know how these girls' trips go. Probably spent more time relaxing than anything else. Well, I should let you get going, Bradley said quickly. Think about the Jaguar, and let me know if you have any questions. Oh, I will. And Bradley? Thanks for the advice about taking care of responsibilities. Very enlightening. I left him standing in the showroom, probably wondering exactly how much I knew and what I planned to do about it. Let him wonder. Let him sweat a little. The drive home gave me time to think about my next move. Confronting Bradley had been satisfying, but it was just the opening gambit. If Genevieve wanted to play games, I could play games. If she wanted to treat me like a fool, I could show her what a fool looked like when he stopped playing nice. My phone was buzzing with more messages from Megan. The university had apparently started the process of dropping her from her classes. Her panic was escalating, and she was starting to realize that her stepfather's money wasn't as guaranteed as she'd assumed. The last message was from Genevieve. Richard, please call me. We need to figure this out like adults. Adults. She wanted to handle this like adults after lying to me like I was a child. I turned off my phone and went to bed. Tomorrow I'd start showing them what an adult looked like when he decided to stop being taken advantage of. The game was about to get interesting. Over the next few days, I implemented what I privately called strategic disengagement. I didn't answer calls from Genevieve or Megan. I didn't respond to their increasingly desperate text messages. I went to work, came home, and lived my life as if 20 years of marriage and stepfatherhood had simply evaporated. It was remarkably peaceful. The house felt different without Genevieve's constant chatter about her work drama and social obligations. No more listening to Megan complain about her professors or her roommates or her need for more spending money. No more being the responsible one while everyone else played. Wednesday evening, I came home to find both of them sitting in my living room. Genevieve had used her key, of course, Even in the middle of our marital crisis, she still felt entitled to my space. "We need to talk," Genevieve said as I walked through the door. "About what?" "About this childish, silent treatment, about Megan's education, about our marriage." I set down my briefcase and looked at them, my wife and stepdaughter, united in their indignation at being held accountable for their actions. "Okay," I said. "Let's talk. Who wants to start?" Megan jumped in first. "You're ruining my life over some stupid misunderstanding. I might lose my scholarship if I get dropped from classes." "What scholarship?" "The merit scholarship I applied for, but I need to maintain full enrollment to qualify." This was news to me. In 2 years of paying her tuition, Megan had never mentioned applying for scholarships. "When did you apply for this scholarship?" "Last month. But the deadline for acceptance is next week, and I can't accept it if I'm not enrolled." I looked at Genevieve, who was studiously avoiding eye contact. "Did you know about this scholarship?" Megan mentioned it, yes. "And neither of you thought to tell me that there might be a way to reduce her tuition costs?" "We didn't want to get your hopes up," Megan said. "It's really competitive." "So you were planning to let me keep paying full tuition even if you got free money?" The silence was deafening. "Let me get this straight," I continued. "You've been lying to me about yacht trips, calling Bradley your real father, and planning to pocket scholarship money that should have reduced my financial burden. And now you're angry that I'm not enthusiastically writing another $15,000 check." "It's not like that," Genevieve said. "Then what is it like? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like I've been funding a lifestyle for people who have nothing but contempt for me." "Richard, you're being dramatic." "Am I?" "Megan, play that voicemail you left me, the one about your real father." Megan's face flushed red. "I was upset. I didn't mean it." "Play it anyway." "I don't have to." "Play it or I will." She pulled out her phone with shaking hands and found the voicemail. Her own voice filled the room, dripping with entitled rage. My real father would never do something like this to me. The words hung in the air like an accusation. Genevieve looked mortified. Megan looked like she wanted to disappear. "Your real father," I repeated. "The one who pays your tuition, your car insurance, your phone bill, your credit card payments. The one who fixed your car when you crashed it freshman year. The one who drove 8 hours to pick you up when you got food poisoning during spring break. That real father." "I'm sorry," Megan whispered. "I was angry and I said something stupid." "Yes, you did. You said something true." I walked to the kitchen and poured myself a glass of water. They followed me, both talking at once, both trying to explain and apologize and justify. But I wasn't listening anymore. I was thinking about Bradley's yacht, and Genevieve's lies, and Megan's scholarship, and 2 decades of being taken for granted. "Here's what's going to happen," I said when they finally stopped talking. "Megan, you're going to accept that scholarship if you get it. You're also going to get a part-time job to cover your living expenses. No more credit card payments from me." "But Richard," "I'm not finished. Genevieve, you're going to decide what you want. If you want to be married to me, then you're going to act like it. No more lies, no more yacht trips with your ex-husband, no more treating me like hired help. If you want to be with Bradley, then file for divorce and stop wasting my time." "It's not that simple," Genevieve said. "It's exactly that simple. You're either married to me or you're not. Pick one. And if I pick you, if we work things out, will you pay Megan's tuition? We'll see. Right now, I'm not feeling particularly generous toward people who lie to me." I finished my water and headed for the stairs. "Where are you going?" Genevieve called after me. "To bed. You two can see yourselves out. Genevieve, if you want to stay here tonight, you're welcome to. But the couch is available. The bedroom is mine until we figure out what we're doing." I left them standing in the kitchen, probably strategizing their next move. But for the first time in months, I felt like I was the one making the decisions instead of just reacting to everyone else's choices. The game was far from over, but at least now I was playing to win. 2 weeks passed in a strange sort of limbo. Genevieve moved back into the house but slept in the guest room. We were polite to each other in the way that strangers are polite. Careful, distant, formal. She went to work, came home, and spent most evenings on her laptop or phone, probably talking to Bradley or Megan or her friends about what a monster I'd become. Megan got her scholarship, 50% of her tuition, covered for the remaining 2 years of her degree. She called to tell me the news, her voice carefully neutral. "That's wonderful," I said. "Congratulations." "So, will you cover the other 50%? "We'll see." "What does that mean?" "It means we'll see." She hung up on me. Apparently, gratitude wasn't part of the scholarship package. The real entertainment came from watching Bradley try to navigate the situation. He'd called the house twice, asking for Genevieve. Both times, I'd answered. "She's not available right now," I'd said pleasantly. "Can I take a message?" Just tell her Bradley called." "Bradley from the car dealership? The one with the yacht?" Silence. "I'll let her know you called." After the second call, Genevieve confronted me. "Why are you answering when Bradley calls?" "It's my house, my phone line." "You're being petty." "I'm being present. There's a difference." "Richard, this has to stop. We can't live like this." "You're right," I said. "We can't." That Friday, I made a decision that had been building for weeks. I called in sick to work and spent the day at the courthouse consulting with a divorce attorney. Margaret Chen had handled 2 of my co-workers' divorces, and both had recommended her as someone who didn't mess around. 20 years of marriage, no biological children together, 1 stepdaughter you've been supporting, she summarized after I'd told her the story. "What are you hoping to achieve?" "I want out, but I want it done right. I don't want to pay alimony to someone who's been cheating on me. I don't want to be on the hook for college tuition for a kid who doesn't consider me family." "Do you have evidence of the affair?" I showed her the yacht photos, played her Megan's voicemail, and provided a timeline of Genevieve's lies. "This is good," she said. "Oregon is a no-fault state, but evidence of adultery can still impact spousal support decisions. As for the stepdaughter, you have no legal obligation to continue paying her expenses once you're divorced." "What about the house?" "That's more complicated. You'll need to provide documentation of who contributed what to the down payment and mortgage payments." I'd come prepared for that too. Bank records, tax returns, employment history, 20 years of being the responsible one had left a paper trail that told a clear story. "Mr. Farrow," Margaret said as we concluded the consultation, "I have to ask, are you sure you want to do this? Divorce is expensive and emotionally draining. Sometimes couples can work through infidelity with counseling." "Ms. Chen, my wife lied to my face so she could spend a weekend on her ex-husband's yacht. My stepdaughter called him her real father while I paid her college tuition. They both treated me like an ATM with legs. I'm not interested in counseling. I'm interested in getting out with my dignity intact." "Fair enough. I'll draw up the preliminary paperwork." That evening I came home to find Genevieve cooking dinner, the first time she'd made an effort in weeks. The table was set with our good china, candles were lit, and she was wearing the blue dress I'd always liked. "What's the occasion?" I asked. "I thought we should talk. Really talk, without all the anger and accusations." "Okay." We sat down to dinner like a normal married couple. The food was good, salmon with asparagus, my favorite. Genevieve had even opened a bottle of the wine we'd been saving for a special occasion. "I've been thinking about what you said," she began, "about making a choice, about what I want. And? I want to save our marriage. I know I made mistakes, and I'm sorry. The thing with Bradley, it wasn't an affair. We didn't sleep together. It was just, I don't know, nostalgia maybe, remembering what it felt like to be young and carefree. By lying to me. Yes, by lying to you. That was wrong, and I'm sorry." She reached across the table and took my hand. Her skin was soft, familiar. 20 years of marriage, and I still remembered the first time she'd held my hand. Richard, I love you. I know I haven't been showing it lately, but I do. You're a good man, and I've been taking that for granted. What about Bradley? What about him? He's my past. You're my future. And Megan? She's young and stupid, and she says things she doesn't mean. But she loves you too, in her way. You're the only father she's really known. The only father she's really known. Except when she was calling Bradley her real father. Genevieve, I appreciate the effort, the dinner, the apology, all of it. But I don't think sorry is enough this time. Her face fell. What do you mean? I mean that trust, once broken, is almost impossible to repair. You didn't just lie to me about one weekend. You planned it, executed it, and then lied to cover it up. Megan helped you. You both treated me like an idiot. But people make mistakes. People forgive each other. That's what marriage is about. Is it? Because for the past few months, marriage has felt more like a business arrangement where I provide the funding and you provide the contempt. That's not fair, isn't it? When was the last time you asked about my day? When was the last time you showed interest in anything I cared about? When was the last time you treated me like a partner instead of a provider? She was quiet for a long moment. I know I've been distant. Work has been stressful, and Megan's been having problems at school, and I guess I've been taking you for granted. You guess. I have been taking you for granted. You're right. But that can change. I can change. I looked at my wife across our candlelit table, wearing my favorite dress, holding my hand, promising to change. Part of me wanted to believe her. Part of me wanted to pretend the yacht photos didn't exist, that the lies hadn't happened, that we could go back to being the couple we used to be. But I'd already filed the divorce papers. Genevieve, I want you to know that I loved you. I loved our life together, at least the parts that were real. But I can't keep pretending that we're something we're not. What does that mean? I pulled the divorce papers from my briefcase and set them on the table between us. Her face went white. Richard, no. Please. We can fix this. I don't think we can. I think we're too far gone. But I love you. Do you? Or do you love the security I provide? The house, the lifestyle, the safety net? Because there's a difference. She stared at the papers like they might disappear if she looked hard enough. You can't be serious about this. I'm completely serious. But what about everything we've built together? 20 years, Richard. 20 years. 20 years where I was the only one building anything. You were just along for the ride. The words hung in the air between us. She let go of my hand and sat back in her chair, tears starting to form in her eyes. So, that's it? You're just giving up? I'm not giving up. I'm choosing myself for once. And Megan? What happens to her? Megan is an adult. She has her scholarship, and she can get a job like millions of other college students. Or she can ask her real father for help. Richard, please, don't do this. Not like this. But I was already standing up, gathering the papers. The divorce is no fault. I'm not asking for alimony, and I'm not offering any. We'll split the assets according to what we each contributed. It's all very fair and civilized. Fair? You think destroying our marriage is fair? I think 20 years of being taken for granted was unfair. This is just balancing the scales. I left her sitting at the table with the ruins of her romantic dinner and went upstairs to pack a bag. I'd already arranged to stay at a hotel until we could work out the living arrangements. The house would probably have to be sold, but that was a problem for the lawyers to solve. As I packed, I could hear her on the phone downstairs, probably calling Megan or Bradley or her friends, probably painting me as the villain who'd destroyed their perfect family over a simple misunderstanding. Let her. I was done caring what people thought about my choices. My phone buzzed with a text from Megan. Mom told me what you did. This is insane. You're throwing away everything over one stupid mistake. One stupid mistake. As if lying to me was just an oops moment, like spilling coffee on my shirt. I typed back, "Your mother made her choice. Now I'm making mine." But what about me? What about my tuition? What about it? You can't just abandon me because you're mad at Mom. I'm not abandoning you. I'm just not funding you anymore. There's a difference. But I need that money. Then ask Bradley. I hear he's very generous with family. She didn't respond, probably because she was starting to realize that Bradley's generosity had limits, and paying for his ex-wife's daughter's education might exceed those limits. I finished packing and headed for the door. Genevieve was still on the phone, but she looked up as I passed the kitchen. "Richard, wait," I stopped. "Where will you go?" "Hotel for now. I'll find an apartment once this is all settled." "And then what? We just stop being married?" "That's generally how divorce works." "But what if I fight it? What if I contest the divorce?" "Then you'll make it more expensive and more unpleasant for both of us, but the outcome will be the same. I could change. I could be the wife you want me to be." "Genevieve, you're 43 years old. If you haven't figured out how to be honest with your husband by now, I don't think another 20 years is going to help." I left her standing in the doorway and drove to the hotel. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. No more lies, no more manipulation, no more being treated like a convenient fool. The game was over, and I'd finally won by refusing to play. But as I lay in the hotel bed that night, staring at the ceiling, I realized that winning felt a lot lonelier than I'd expected. 20 years of marriage, even a bad marriage, leaves a hole when it ends. I'd gotten my dignity back, but I'd lost my life as I knew it. Still, as I drifted off to sleep, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd made the right choice. Sometimes the only way to win is to stop playing a rigged game. Tomorrow I'd start building a new life. One where I wasn't anyone's ATM, anyone's safety net, anyone's convenient fool. For the first time in 20 years, I was free to be just Richard Farrow. I was looking forward to finding out who that was. The divorce proceedings moved faster than I'd expected. Genevieve initially threatened to contest everything, but her lawyer apparently explained the realities of Oregon divorce law. With evidence of her affair and no children together, her position wasn't strong. 6 months later, it was over. The house sold, assets divided, marriage dissolved. Genevieve moved in with Bradley. Apparently his generosity extended to providing housing for his ex-wife. Megan finished college with her scholarship and student loans, no longer my financial responsibility. I bought a small condo overlooking the river and started dating again. It was strange at first, being single after 20 years, but also liberating. No more lies, no more manipulation, no more being taken for granted. Sometimes I wondered if I'd been too harsh, too unforgiving. But then I'd remember the yacht photos, the lies, the contempt in Megan's voice when she called Bradley her real father. Some betrayals are too fundamental to forgive. I'd learned something important about myself during those months. I was stronger than I'd thought. Strong enough to walk away from a life that wasn't working, even when walking away meant starting over at 43. The responsible one, the reliable one, the one who fixed the leaks and paid the bills. I was still all of those things. But now I was choosing who deserved my reliability, my responsibility, my care. And that made all the difference.